thrill me.
Night of the Creeps. It is a wonderful movie, surprisingly. I went in with zero expectations, came out with a movie that didn't waste my time, and actually was very humorous. Except maybe for the 30th thrill me. First time, very funny. After that, too many times. Before I tell you, though, about this movie, which plays like Return of the Living Dead crashing into the faculty, let me tell you a little bit about Fred Dekker, the writer and director extraordinaire of this movie. Not in general. Let's not get carried away. So, Fred Dekker, he kicked off his career in 1983 after graduating from UCLA's School of Film and Theater. That same year, he met future collaborator Steve Miner. Yes, the guy who directed Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3. And Miner hired him to write the script for an unproduced movie called Godzilla, King of the Monsters in 3D. Fun fact, Dekker got the job because he didn't like Godzilla movies. Miner wanted a fresh take, and Dekker believed a script that was more sci-fi adventure than giant monster stuff. Toho hated it, the rights reverted, and decades later we got the 1998 disaster. So, thanks, I guess. After the Godzilla project collapsed, Dekker wrote a 15-page story, and basically it was a horror comedy seed that ended up in the hands of Sean Cunningham, Wes Craven's longtime collaborator. Cunningham hired Ethan Wiley to expand it into a full screenplay and brought Steve Miner in back to direct. This result was House, 1985, released by Roger Corman's New World Pictures. House was a surprise hit on the festival circuit, earning Miner's Critics Award at Borriza, at this word, and scoring a nomination at Fantasporto, and because of that success, Dekker finally got his next screenplay greenlit, and this time, he got to direct himself. Released by TriStar and produced by Charles Gordon, yes, the same guy who would go on to later produce Die Hard and Field of Dreams, because I think that's common knowledge, right? Night of the Creeps hit theaters in 1986 and became a smashing box office bomb. But I guess TriStar had already agreed to make Dekker's next film, so he went to work with his close friend and collaborator and actual roommate, Shane Black, on what would become the Monster Squad. At the time, Shane Black was juggling two scripts. One was a 150-minute epic movie with action, drama, big effects, and the other one was Lethal Weapon. Dekker took Black's monster opus and trimmed it down to a tight 100 minutes and handed it off to TriStar, who made a whopping -$9 million. That's a fun way of saying Dekker lost TriStar money back-to-back and year-over-year. After that, Dekker stepped away from the director's chair, probably by studio request, and went back to writing. He penned 5 episodes of Tales from the Crypt, directed one, and co-wrote the neo-noir Ricochet and the spy comedy If Looks Could Kill, both box office bombs. But that didn't stop him. Dekker came back to directing with a screenplay written by Frank Goddang Miller and gave us RoboCop 3, the movie that chased Frank Miller back to comics almost for good. So, after scarring the world for 6 years, wow, 6 years. Has anyone ever done something so awful within that span of 6-year time period?
Ihr Blicke weiß ich, mein Lebenskampf ist nicht umsonst.
Oh, right. Anyways, Dekker eventually found work as an uncredited script doctor, punching up movies like Titan A&E, a box office bomb, and Lethal Weapon 4. Hey, finally a movie with a profit. He also wrote 4 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise, which of course was the only Star Trek series to get canceled. Well, until now. After being away for more than a decade, long enough for an entire generation of people to finally kick the bucket, Dekker returned to help write the Amazon TV movie Edge. Critics said it was good, but it devolved into nothing but just senseless death, and the writing could have been better. But that didn't slow him down. Dekker reunited with his good buddy Shane Black to make the next great American sci-fi action thriller that shook the world. The Predator, 2018. Oh my God. Can this guy stop wrecking franchises? At least since then he hasn't had any work, so. But that's Frank Decker. Now on to the plot. But before I start, I'm just going to make sure that you guys know that this is Wikipedia's plot, so if there's any details missing, just leave it in the comments below. Outside of that, let's get started.
The good news is your dates are here.
In 1959, two aliens race aboard their shuttle to keep an experiment from being released by a third member of the crew. And honestly, I can't think of any jokes. Just watch the clip. I can't think of where Decker got this idea, but it's fantastic. The possessed third alien shoots the canister into space where it crashes on Earth. Now I gotta ruin the ending a little. The aliens return to fetch their science experiment 27 years later. Why so long? Because that canister shot out of that faster than the speed of light. It took that canister one day to get to Earth, the fastest delivery service in the galaxy. On Earth, two young lovers on a college date overlooking Fornication Valley see a falling star and investigate. Unluckily for them, it lands in the path of an escaped criminally insane patient.
Police continue the search for a 35-year-old escapee from the Crest Ridge Mental Institute who is believed to be moving west on Route 66 toward the Corman University area.
And as the man goes to look at something that would be incredibly hot after breaching our atmosphere, surely he won't try to... Yep, he tried to touch it. But back to his date, she is attacked by an axe-wielding maniac. Did I mention he had an axe? The mental patient. He has an axe. Anyways, the man finds the canister from which a small slug-like thing jumps into his mouth, which was just wide open. That's why I breathed through the nose. 27 years later, in 1986, Chris, our hero, pines over a love lost, supported by his friend JC, not Jesus Christ, who's getting a little fed up with being his emotional support dog.
Look, every single day, I put up with your moaning about what's her name and how you wish you could fall in love again, but you're too chicken shit to do anything about it.
During Pledge Week, Chris spots a girl, Cynthia, and falls instantly in love. To get her attention, he decides to join a fraternity because, walking up and talking to her is a really hard ask. To prove our point, let's have JC show us.
Now watch this. JC's going in for the main event. Final countdown, 3rd and 10. This is going to be beautiful. You'll love it.
Are you there?
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Tiger. Cindy.
No, JC did it. And he's on crutches. Cynthia's boyfriend, who's in charge of the fraternity that Jay and Chris want to join, tasked them with stealing a cadaver from the University Medical Center and depositing it on the steps of a rival fraternity house. Oh, college days. Raiding dorms, dropping off cadavers, burying that one random guy so he can come back, leave us haunting messages while we're killed off one by one. College. Chris and JC find a frozen corpse in a secret room under the medical building with no security except for a door that was just one button away from opening. Inside the room, they decide that thawing the frozen body and desecrating him by dropping him off would be a great way not to get criminal charges. It was a great idea until it grabs him. And like screaming banshees, they fled. The thawed corpse then kills a medical student working at the lab. In fact, the very lab they just broke into. Well, he wasn't in the lab. He was calling his roommate during this time, trying to find that mysterious final number to his 5-digit code to open the door. He could have just tapped the pad 9 times and got in. You were 1 digit away. Just insert the code 9 different times until you get it right. Now you're dead, and the horribly grotesque monster is on the loose. So, Detective Cameron,
Thrill me.
a haunted cop, is called to the cryogenics lab where his cops, in between bringing their dinners and briefcases, have miscounted the number of bodies.
I know it wasn't on the sergeant exam or anything, but if you use your little fingers, it's real easy. See? 1, 2.
The corpse, now set free by Chris and JC, makes its way back to the sorority house where he picked up his date originally in 1959. There, his head splits open in front of Cynthia and releases more of the slugs. never quite understood why he didn't attack her. He just watched her undress, smiled creepily, split his head open, and then he moved around to the front of the house to die. That last part, that's the thing that's tripping me up when I'm watching this. How? Called to the scene, Cameron finds the body. I mean, everybody found the body. It was on the front doorstep. Plus, Cameron wasn't even the first cop there. This was the guy eating, again, at a crime scene. Anyways, Cameron interprets the condition of the head, that of one of being split open. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, as the result of an axe wound to the face. The next day, the fraternity brothers confront Chris and JC, who they believe to be responsible for the previous night's incident, which wasn't intentionally their doing. Mostly. They are then taken in for questioning by the police based on the testimony of a janitor who witnessed them running out of the University Medical Center. They confess to breaking in but deny moving the corpse.
I mean, we're not your fraternity types. I personally would rather have my brains invaded by creatures from space than pledge a fraternity.
He's lying, we did it.
That night, the dead medical student rises from his slab and kills the janitor after returning back to the medical building. Cynthia attempts to convince Chris and JC that the attacks are zombie-related, but they are skeptical. I mean, I would be too. No brains were eaten, no bites. It didn't even attack her. Why would she think zombie? When JC sees Cynthia leaning on Chris's shoulder, JC leaves the two alone in order to make a number two, and is attacked by the slugs that emerge from the possessed janitor. And yeah, the show just cut off the best character. Now we have to watch the rest of this with Blake Lively's brother for 45 minutes. Oh, and yeah, this is also when JC discovers that the slugs are combustible. Well, no. Liquefiable? By flame? I guess that's how you would say it. Anyways, after Chris walks Cynthia back to the sorority house, he runs into Cameron, who has overheard their conversation. At his house, Cameron explains to Chris that the escaped lunatic's 1959 victim was his ex-girlfriend, and that he secretly hunted down and killed the axe murderer in revenge.
Now, I don't mean to be rude or anything, but other than just kind of wanting to confess to a murder, is there a point to this story?
Spanky. That's exactly what I'm trying to figure out.
After Cameron revealed that he buried the body under what is now the house mother's home, he gets a call that the same axe-wielding lunatic has returned. Cameron loads his shotgun, knowing that if the suspect is armed or not, that head is coming off. He blows off the corpse's head with his shotgun, which releases more slugs. He didn't know it was going to do that. All's forgiven. The next night, while everyone prepares for a formal dance, which, is that a thing? I never went to any formal dances in college. But Chris finds a recorded message that JC posthumously left for him. JC says that the slugs have incubated in his head, but he has discovered that they are susceptible to heat. Chris recruits he finds his buddy first. Then he goes to Cameron, who was in the middle of a suicide attempt. I did not get this joke at first, but golden star for Decker.
What?
They got alfalfa.
Wonderful.
After their zombie slug epiphany, the duo visit the police armory and retrieve a flamethrower from the Dick Miller. Well, retrieve is a strong word. They stuck a gun in his face and not a lot of options after that. They arrive at the sorority house just as Cynthia breaks up with Brad, who has become possessed, while also ignoring continuity like before. We just established that JC was infected. He was able to go to his dorm room, write a note, record a message, and then go all the way to the boiler room. Decker, that's bad writing. After killing him, Brad, not Decker, the Beta fraternity brothers show up, now possessed after dying in a bus crash earlier. Cynthia and Chris team up to take out the zombies outside while Cameron clears the house. After they stop the horde, the plot just glazes over the entire fight scene? Okay. Chris spots more slugs racing towards the basement. Cynthia explains that one of the sorority girls had specimen brains for biology class stored down in the basement. What? Why? Is their basement super refrigerated? Are they pickled? Also, this whole mess started because Chris and JC let loose the slug incubator in the medical building. Weren't the brains stored there? What? Did their teacher go, "Oh, Cindy, we've got some dissection experiments coming up. Can you take home 300 brains and store them in your basement?" Like, who asked that? In the basement, they find an enormous pile of slugs, and Cameron, tape across his mouth, prepping a can of gasoline. He peels off the tape to tell Chris to leave, starts counting down as he splashes gasoline everywhere, and Chris counts down with him as he and Cynthia sprint out of the house. Cameron opens the gas valve, several slugs leap at him, he flickers his lighter, and the entire house goes up in a fiery explosion. This scene would feel a lot more symbolic for his noble sacrifice if this wasn't exactly what he wanted to do, that we established earlier in the movie. Chris and Cynthia, though, they share a kiss as they watch the house burn. Nothing brings out the romantic side like torched bodies, dead classmates, and the smoldering ruins of all your worldly possessions. Chris and Cynthia stand in front of the burning sorority house, though, as the police cars race towards the scene. Cameron's charred, zombified corpse shuffles down the street, still smoking a cigarette, before collapsing. His head bursts open, releasing the slugs inside, which slither towards a nearby cemetery. The camera pans up and it turns into a miniature set. Searchlights sweep the sky, and the aliens have finally caught up with their package. Finally. And that's the movie. One I genuinely recommend if you want a decently made film with a ridiculous fun time. Outside of that, you guys have a good one. Bye.